Meeting order, we have quorum. Reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Additions, corrections, comments? Lacking any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. We'll turn it over to our guest that we have tonight.
Okay, so we have Carrie Terwilliger, Director of Cayuga County Planning, and Jenny Haynes, the Auburn City Manager, and they have a housing presentation for us here. I am going to try to share my.
I'm sorry, I missed the last thing you said.
Housing presentation for here. Where's that share button, Tracy?
It's that green one right in the middle.
I don't know. Find something to do with these people.
All right.
Yeah.
Michael, who else is on? the
Yeah,
call?
who else is on?
We do, so we have Justin and Rick, and we have two gentlemen from one of the projects on the agenda today as well. That's for US Light Energy, for a renewable energy project up in Sterling. They will be speaking to their project following Carrie and Jenny's presentation.
Well, thank you all very much for accommodating us tonight and inviting us to come speak with you. It's really exciting. It's good to see you all again. Some of you I haven't seen in a long time, so it's great to see you all. Jenny and I are here to talk to you very briefly. I think you've received these materials in advance, but go quickly to respect your time. About an initiative that we've been working on, trying to get off the ground for several years right now. Which is a countywide housing market study. This is something that was born out of the initial announcement for Micron. And something that was the very first agenda item and task for the subcommittee, the Micron Housing Subcommittee, or the larger Cayuga County Micron Committee. And we're trying to kind of take the approach of this countywide initiative rather than looking at project specific housing studies like we've done in the past, or just simply for the city, knowing that we have housing needs right now, not only just what's coming from spin-off development from Micron, but we've had a lot of businesses already tell us that they have some serious housing needs when it comes to their own expansions. So just a little bit of background, and you have the slides, and Jenny gave you a good handout to put together. This is part of a larger multi-pronged initiative that we're undertaking right now in collaboration with our partners at the city, but especially through my department at the planning department for the county. So we're doing a county-wide strategic plan. Pop quiz, anyone know the last time we did one? 1969. So it's been a minute. Oh yeah. So it's been a minute, we definitely need to do that. Part of that initiative requires 3 levels of expertise studies that our staff, my office, don't have the expertise right now to do. We need targeted professionals. One of those is the BOA, the Brownfield Opportunity Area Study. We do have grant funding for that, which is contracted with Fisher Associates. That again is a countywide study looking at vacant underutilized sites for redevelopment. Auburn's updating their comprehensive plan, and we need to look at housing. As you know, housing is integrated deeply into economic development. As illustrated here in this pyramid. So think of this pyramid as a whole is the countywide strategic plan. The top tier is a county economic development strategy. I know you guys have been talking about that. I know that your counterparts have been talking about that, and we'll continue to figure out how to get that done. The second tier there is that BOA study. That is reuse and revitalization of vacant underutilized sites and developments around the county. Housing study fits right there in the middle. We've got to have the housing to support our business growth. Our municipalities have done a good job on their own with assistance from our department over the years, updating their own individual plans, as well as the region. And as Jenny will mention, and I recall, we looked at this years ago for the housing study, and we wanted to get it off the ground. Century North region said, pause, wait a minute, we want to do a region-wide study first. We want all the counties to wait and let us do our regional study. So we did. Their study is good, it does not do the deep dive that we need. It does not provide us with where are the places specifically in our county that need housing, that people want housing, or people don't want housing, right? They want things to go incrementally in Southtown, most likely. But what types of housing do we need? We'll sit here and tell you we need all types of housing, but we need someone who has the market expertise to say, here's your population, here's the different segments of your population, the housing you currently have that serves them, and the gaps that you have. All the way from high end to low end. Where do we have infrastructure that supports that? Where do we need improvements and upgrades to our infrastructure to be able to support that development? Right? So what's gonna set this study apart from what some of our counterparts have done in Onondaga County and Syracuse is Jenny and her team put together the scope of work before I got on the committee. They did a great job. And it has an implementation section, right? So unlike Onondaga and Syracuse, that just did the market study that said, here's what you need. We're looking to have that implementation section that says, here's how you're gonna do it. Here's what you need to do. Here's the zoning changes you need. Here's the infrastructure changes and upgrades you need. Here's the incentives that are needed to draw the developers to build the things that you need. That is the key component. The results of the housing study, the results of the BOA, the results of the economic development strategy are all the three legs of the stool that are going to inform the implementation section of the countywide strategic plan. I went over much of that already, sorry. Thanks. This is a short-term project. Will involve public outreach, it will involve talking with our municipalities and our partners and the developers to figure out what do you want and what do you need and what can we achieve together for the future growth. Project budget. We've confirmed that the scope of work can achieve $150,000 for consultant services. County is submitting a grant application to the Northern Border Regional Commission, NBRC, for $100,000. That's the max that we can ask for through that program. They recently awarded other counties the same amount of money for a feasibility study, just like this one, for a housing market study. So we're gonna ask for that. The Auburn Housing Authority, pretty much day one, after the Micron Housing Committee announced they were gonna do this, said, I'll give you $20,000. Right? With the understanding that that money is not exclusive to the city of Auburn, that is for a county-wide study. Even though they operate within the city, they understand the value of doing this at a county-wide scale. That leaves us a gap of $30,000. Part of that I'll let Jenny talk about this a little bit, may come from initiatives living through the city and their comprehensive plan.
So we have our comprehensive plan request for proposals available right now. We're asking consultants to take a look at that. One of the pieces of the comprehensive plan is a housing market study. That's an alternate to our RFP. So we're hoping that consultants will respond to that. The idea is that we would say, okay, what would it take to do a city of Auburn housing market study? And then as we're talking to them, what would it take to do a countywide housing market study? So we're hoping to get that really good information as part of our RFP process, which is already in place. And we have proposals due on October 8th. So the funding that we have from the Department of State for ours, hopefully could fund the city's portion of the housing market study, but we haven't confirmed that yet. That's why we're still showing that funding gap of $30,000.
Right. And we're hoping that they get great responses to their RFP. Regardless, this initiative, because it's being taken on by the county, will go out through a formal RFP process. So we would encourage whoever has responded successfully to the city's RFP to also submit a response to ours, but there's no guarantee we would hire the same. We would put it through the same rigorous process that we would any project that we're doing. And I know that Mike has talked to you probably ad nauseum about the importance of and the integration of housing and economic. Right? You all see it. You see it with the applications that are coming to you and the conversations that you're having with Newport and Courier and the hospital and Tessie and Cayuga Mill. They're expanding, they're trying to bring more people here, they're having a hard time attracting employees. Because the housing that those employees want and need isn't readily available near their workplace. They're having to send people to Godwin County, Wayne County, Seneca County, they're missing out on top tier employees that just don't have the housing that they need here. Timing is critical to get this done so that we can jump right into implementation and dovetail that into the great work that you guys and your other partners in the county are already doing.
One of the things that we really think Cayuga County is well positioned for is housing development from spin-off opportunities that are happening in the region. Our own companies, Harry mentioned, are already looking for housing, whether it's Micron or whatever else is going on in the region. We are well positioned to take on some of those opportunities. The city has great sites. Some of our communities outside the city have great sites. Town of Brutus specifically, right there on the thruway, is, you know, excited and ready for development. So we want to make sure that we can do everything we can to identify those sites and point developers there with some good data.
And we're not talking just green development sites, brand new development. We all know that in the city as well as in our villages and some of our towns, we do have some vacant, dilapidated housing that is subpar. So we're also looking for ways that we can get funding and support and partnerships to upgrade, update, rehab those housing units to get them back on the market and usable too. Because it doesn't make sense to say, okay, we're just gonna ignore this blight over here and go build something beautiful over there. That does not help our communities, does not help the quality of life, it does not help their economic prosperity or the counties as a whole. We need to do both at the same time. So we're hoping and we're looking forward to partnering with the IDA along with our housing authority and the city going forward on this list. And we'll take any questions you guys have.
I don't fully understand what the brownfield aspect of your study has to do with housing.
So there isn't necessarily a direct correlation between the brownfield study that we're doing separately and the housing necessarily. There could be. So what we're trying to achieve for the brownfield is looking at, yes, all those things that we know have contamination or probably have some nasty stuff, but also our vacant buildings in our downtowns that may have things like lead or asbestos, where there could be upper floor apartments and, you know, businesses downtown. Think of Weedsport, pick any building in Weedsport, right? So that study is going to look at both of those things and give us recommendations for both of those things. It will tee us up for funding to rehab and mitigate the environmental hazards in buildings across.
Who is going for the funding, the developer?
That depends on the outcome of the study and what leadership of the county wants to do. So this level of the BOA study is a precursor to the next phase that the state has available. And Johnny can speak to this a little bit because the city has done this. Where we can receive rehab money. Either the county can do it, or we can work with developers specifically to help them with that.
Right, so the city has an established brownfield opportunity area, which is different than the counties. Ours is a specific area through the city that we did that was contiguous. The cool thing about what Carrie's doing is she's able to do these scattered sites around the county, which is the way you're gonna have to do brownfields in the county because they are all over the place versus in a single area in the city. We established our BOA. We were able to get some grants from EPA to do studies on some of the sites. So we've got environmental reports on sites that we can give to developers so they understand what they're getting into. Very, very important. You know, we've got a couple of real estate professionals here. That's something that you run into all the time. It's really important to have that information. So we've been able to do that. There's brownfield tax credits that developers could gain, which could be very lucrative to rehabilitating a particular property. There's different credits that could bring extra 5%. Tracy, I don't know this one very well. There's 5% credit that you can gain in a brownfield opportunity area if you're developing in that particular area. It could bring additional funding to the developer. So there's great opportunities for funding and obviously for our communities to be able to redevelop these sites that have been sitting, you know, for a long, long time.
So the long answer of the BOA is one of those three legs of the three-legged stool that is gonna inform that.
So your study will focus primarily on just housing,
Yes,
okay?
yes,
And as I understand it, I'm just trying to, there's just a lot of studies being done, so the city will also be doing a
Yes.
study.
Yeah, so we're doing our comprehensive plan. Our last comprehensive plan was done in 2009, adopted in 2009 or early 2010. So we're back to 1967, but we were overdue because you really should do them every 10 years.
Right.
And so the comprehensive plan is land use based, so it's going to, acknowledge what's happened in the last, 15 years. It's going to look at opportunities. It's going to look at different ways we could look at development differently than we did in the past. It's gonna talk about our neighborhoods, it's gonna talk about the river, it's gonna talk about things that are in there already. So what we wanna make sure of is that we're doing good work to feed into Carrie's plan at the county, so that when she's doing this countywide plan, the city piece is in there and solid as she's working, on all the towns and villages around there. It's really cool that we're doing this at the same time. I don't think it's been done before. And all the different pieces that she's been able to put together that will inform.
Okay, so, and I understand the chamber is going to be doing a study. But not necessarily economic development,
I'm
Chamber
not-
Foundation, I should
Oh,
say.
okay.
The
I'm
Chamber
not
Foundation,
aware of,
okay. So that they're going to, so
we'll
my
have to talk
follow,
with them, and make sure that if it's
Yeah.
something we should be working on together. Thank you.
right, yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get at. So let me ask, when your study is completed, do you share these studies? Okay,
Exactly.
did we ever, we did a study a couple years ago on, and it was quite good. But we didn't share it, or,
So we retain that study and share it with our partners as the board says this is of interest to this other agency
Okay.
or group
Okay.
that, because we paid for that study, we did not partner with anybody else on it, and there is some sensitive information thereof. It's my understanding of what Carrie and Jenny are asking is by requesting the IDA's financial support of this, we would be a named entity
right,
for the report to be done. And as far as sharing it, I believe that would
I mean,
be,
our study will be on our website.
Yeah.
When it's done.
Right,
And
right.
we'll share it freely with anybody. that wants
anything
to
that's
have it.
done by a municipality by state law is public record and open to the public. So any initiative that we take on as the county will be free and available to the public to look at.
we're not a municipality, right, we're just an agency. So I guess we'll discuss that after you leave. Why we don't share?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's reasons for it. If there was sensitive information in it, that, was confidential or privileged. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. There's lots of things that you guys talk
Maybe
about that's
through the-
confidential.
Yeah, I used to work with the government, we can just exact it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny. I want you to put your planner hat on for a minute.
Sure.
Um,
She's a better planner than me, but I'll try.
but I'm not taking sides, although she is my favorite. We work together. The making brownfield available for housing, did you notice any certain restrictions as far as disturbance or attaining housing for brownfield?
So if you are developing a brownfield site for housing, you have to mitigate to the highest level. So it would be the most expensive sort of remediation to use a brownfield site for housing. It's not impossible.
Right. But it also depends on what the contamination is, right? And that's why I said for the countywide goal, we're casting a wide net. So we're looking at anything and everything from lead and asbestos up to the super nasty stuff. Right, that is our directive to fish it. Because we're hoping to capture those buildings in our downtowns where they're of an age that it's likely that all that's there, that's a problem, is lead and asbestos, but it's still expensive to mitigate. That is much easier to do to get housing in than if we have PCBs and nasty chemicals on the site. Which to Jenny's point, you gotta clean that to pristine conditions to be able to put contact on, which includes housing.
Because most brownfields in this county are being mitigated. Yet they are some restrictions, they are available for
The big
Question?
ones that are already listed on Superfund sites are in the process of mitigation. There are some others scattered about. I'm thinking one in our chairman's district that is sitting in Fairhaven that's tucked behind Main Street where there used to be the laundromat and the factory, and it's kind of sitting dilapidated. It's a kind of a, we don't really know what's here situation. That is a perfect site that we're gonna have Fisher look at to say, what's here, what's the issue, what do we need to deal with to make this development ready? Right, because people have looked at that site and when they get in there, they go, never mind. Can't afford this.
There's one site in Auburn that has fairly recently used brownfield tax credits, and that's the Hilton Garden Inn. So that site was a brownfield and they used brownfield tax credits to as a partial of the funding to build that hotel.
Okay, so there was no problem with, I
It
mean,
had to be remediated and mitigated in
Okay.
order for them to do it, but they were able to attract some funding to their project because they had some things they needed to remediate.
And it really depends on what is the contamination, what are we dealing with?
thank you.
Are you making this presentation to the Auburn IDA?
We can,
We haven't been asked to, but we
we
can.
can.
We were asked to come here tonight, so that's why we're here.
Your budget says you're short $30,000,
Yes,
is that
sir.
right? Do you have other options to?
We're hoping that the city's funding through the Department of State for our comprehensive plan can fund a portion of this. So that 30 might come down, depends on our process. So we're hoping to get our proposals back in early October and, get some more information on that.
Do you have a timetable when you need to have this funding in place?
Not
Before we
this-
kick off.
Before we do an RFP, we will find out on Monday if we're given the green light to submit the full application to the NDRC for the 100,000. That application is due October 10th, 8th, 10th, I think. We don't have to have a solid commitment by then. We can put in the budget that it's been requested, right? But before we get under contract with them and before we would submit an RFP, we would want to make sure we have firm commitments and dollars in hand and know where that money is coming from. Some other people have talked to us, may be interested, we don't know. We're open to all creative solutions to come up with that funding gap right now.
We're hoping the grant application is successful. That would be a
Right.
big chunk of it. If it's not, we.
So we'll go back to the drawing
have a lot
board
more
and
to-
keep pounding the pavement until we can get it done. So. And we have received some verbal confirmation, and support in general of, yes, this is something that we should do from all the city council and the county legislature. But as you know, there's some tough budgets going around, so they don't have the money to give to us to do it, which is completely understandable, but Jenny and I are being as creative as possible, and again, hitting the pavement, trying to find solutions to get the money.
A last thing, you mentioned this when you started your presentation. There are areas in the county where we've been trying to run water who do not want water because they do not want development.
Mhm,
You,
right.
you understand.
We
what the-
understand that, and that's good to get confirmed, right? So we want that, we kind of know, because we've been on the ground level like you guys have. But it's good to have those third-party experts confirm that from the community on their own. That brings a little bit more validation to the conversation. And that's good information for us to know, just as much as we support Brutus jumping up and down saying, we want, right here.
Yeah, who doesn't want development? Who does want development? We need to make sure we understand where to send people, where to spend our time identifying sites to pitch.
It's really important that you have that background before you actually start to work on it.
Absolutely. And we're fortunate that we have access to a lot of documents and studies and meeting minutes to send to whomever that consulting company is.
Thank you for having us today. We
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you
and
very much.
And our contact information is on the last slide. Reach out with any questions anytime. Jenny and I'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Did you still want me to hang around for a bit or no?
Up to you. But you're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. I have to make my way to the city council meeting.
I have to head out too. I have somewhere to. I apologize. I didn't realize the presentations, but I don't show up at my kid's school, he's gonna be there, no way. So. I hope.
That's a good priority.
Any discussion before we move on? Okay, move on.
Okay. So next up, we have before us the initial project resolution for an application from New York US Light Energy, Sterling Station Road. On the phone, we have a couple of representatives, Michael Fingard from the company itself, and there's attorney Stephen Elmy. Gentlemen, if you would like to speak to your project.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephen Almy. I'm from the law firm of Barclay Damon. I'm here with Michael Fingar. He's the Director of Development for 38 Degrees North, and they are developing a solar array in the town. It's a 2 megawatt AC community distributed generation solar project. And I'll let Michael explain more about the project, and then we can take any questions that you may have.
Sure. Thanks for the introduction, Stephen, and thanks to the board for hearing us today. Mike Fingar, Director of Development for US Light Energy and 38 Degrees North. So we were US Light Energy, recently acquired by 38 Degrees North. That has opened up opportunities for us to expand from development and land leasing and permitting up to NTP into ultimate construction and ownership of the arrays. So I am pretty excited for that opportunity. And this project in particular, as Stephen mentioned, is 2 megawatts AC, 3 megawatts DC. It's going to generate somewhere around 5,500 megawatt hours per year. That's going to allow us to power somewhere between 300 and 500 homes. This will be participating in RG&E's community solar program. We're connecting right to an existing distribution circuit at the street. We do have quite a bit of upgrades to work on with RG&E. But in general, this project is fully approved at the local township level, and we are working through construction engineering and planning right now, and we have completed our NYSERDA applications. So this is one of the last stops for us, just to get some certainty on some of the operating costs, and happy to answer any questions you may have about the project.
Whereabouts is the project, Michael?
In the town of Sterling.
Yeah, I apologize. Should have mentioned that. 935 Sterling Station Road in the town of Sterling.
How many acres is it about?
It is
33.4?
Yeah, 33.4.
beat me to it. That's the parcel size. I think pull up the actual metrics for you.
How big is it?
It's a oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Michael.
It's a 3 megawatt DC. So the total parcel size is 33 here. Sorry, if I have the ability to share the screen, I'm happy to give you this table. I think I do. So we have a parcel size of 33.4, but what I did want to call out is the actual the area of disturbance is 11 acres. So the array envelope itself, so the area of the panels is 8.4 acres. That disturbed area is essentially our fence line. So although the parcel size is 33, we're only using about a third of that for the array itself. And just to give you a quick visual of the site and its location. It is right here on the corner of Sterling Station Road and Finch's Corners Road. And the existing point of interconnection on the circuit I mentioned is on Finch's Corners Road. So we'll be having a new curb cut there, and that'll enter into the array. We were able to work with both the landowner and the town. We got screening around the entire array and using a portion of a field that the landowner has not utilized in some time. And they live right over here.
Any other questions from the board?
Is there any chance that any of this electricity can be used locally?
Yeah, we hope so. So we would actually be open to allowing local customers to participate in this. It's really up to local residents if they choose to subscribe. We aren't able to necessarily force them to subscribe to this array. But their opportunity does exist for them to participate in community solar, even if it weren't this array, although I would hope they choose to participate in this array specifically. Anybody in the RG&E territory can participate in community solar by choice.
You have a price of what the electricity is gonna be available for?
So it actually works typically with a fixed discount, generally in the range of 5 to 10% off the energy, off the credit. So there's no fixed rate because of the fluctuation in energy rate, but it is a fixed discount. So no matter what the energy rate is from the utility, that discount will be provided.
It's a 10% discount. My son gets it.
Is that right?
I can't get it because we're commercial. We're farm. This is me right out. Any other questions? Resolution.
Okay. Assuming no further questions, I will read the resolution and follow that up with a roll call vote to advance this project for further consideration. This is page 30 of your packet. Resolution of the Cayuga County Industrial Development Agency. 1, accepting the application of New York U.S. Light Energy Sterling Station Road 1 LLC with respect to a certain project. 2, authorizing the scheduling and conduct of a public hearing with respect to the project. 3, describing the forms of financial assistance being contemplated by the agency. And 4, authorizing the negotiation of certain agreements relating to the project. I'll now move to roll call vote here. Mr. Mark,
I'm sorry, was there a first and a second?
that's right.
Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you, Tracy.
Mike.
Okay, Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Latinishon,
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood,
Yeah.
Ms. Adams,
Yeah.
Ms. Spino,
Yes,
Mr. Rhineflesh.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Thank you, board members. Michael, Stephen, Justin, and I will be in touch with you to further discussion of your project. Thank you both.
Great,
for
thank you.
attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you so much for your time.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, want to do the farmhouse while we're doing these?
Sure. So, page 34 of your packet is the supplemental project authorizing resolution for the Inns of Aurora. This is the farmhouse that was approved early last year. They've run into some delays and need an extension. Their anticipated completion is end of year. I think that's feasible. I drive by it most days, including coming here tonight. They've made a lot of progress, but there's definitely a little more work to go here. Any questions in advance of me?
Yes,
reading the
what are we
resolution?
looking for, Michael? Just an extension of what?
It's an extension of
Use and tax.
the tax itself and increasing that as well.
The sales and use tax.
Yes.
Just the sales and use?
Yeah,
not-
that's all
not
they
the
have.
Pilot or anything else?
No.
So in other words, they haven't purchased everything and they still want that available
Basically,
when they
right.
do.
Did you say increase in something? Or
Total project cost as well as your sales and use tax
Okay.
exemption.
okay.
Basically, remodel an old house and you can dump all kinds of money in it.
Yeah. Yes.
I can tell you that from experience.
Me too.
So I'll read.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Oh, did we read it? Yeah, yeah, okay.
He's good.
Okay.
Is there a
I
second?
want to read it before.
Okay. Mike,
Okay. Supplemental project authorizing resolution of the Cayuga County IDA relating to 1, the appointment of Inns of Aurora LLC as its agent to undertake a certain project. 2, accepting an updated application for financial assistance 3, approving the provision of additional financial assistance to the company in furtherance of the project. And 4, approving the execution and delivery of certain amendments and documents relative to the same. We need another motion for this.
Nope, we already got it for that one.
Okay. Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Latinishing,
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood.
Yep.
Ms. Adams,
Yes.
Ms. Spino,
Yes.
Mr. Rhineflesh.
Yes.
So,
All approved. Bill, communications.
You have all, or in the packet that was sent online, I have copies here, really just all of the same or types of things that you have every month, plus some postage for some certified mailing documents, but everything else is normal monthly bills.
I'll move to pay.
I'll second.
Motion to seconded to approve paying our bills.
What about all the mileage? You know, I thought. You know, and I mean, I can see paying mileage from Auburn, but you know, from your house is a little rough.
we don't have an office. So once an office is established, that's where it would be coming from.
Yeah, but like, I'm not paid to drive to work. And it adds up to a fairly substantial amount every time we go through it.
Okay. So I'm not sure what you're,
Well, I think we're gonna pay mileage, we should pay it from Auburn, not from their house.
Did our employment contract with you include mileage?
yes.
Further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Report of treasurer.
Oh, that's me. So, the reports were in your packet. The one thing I wanted to point out specifically is on the P and L, you'll see a grant income of negative $55,187. That is related to the adjustments that were made to the EDA and ESD grants when those reconciliations were done. That is the amount that came off of the total amount that we had originally put into the revenue line. So that's just offsetting that $1.2 million that's year to date in there. But it just shows up as a negative this month because the adjustment was made this month.
Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Question to the treasurer. All in favor? Any opposed?
Who seconded?
Gina did. Right, Gina?
No, it was me.
Thanks, I was trying, my
Somebody else
mistake, I was
like-
trying.
Carried. Executive director report, please.
Okay, so you have my written report in your packet. As usual, I have walk-on updates for you here. We'll start with some project up. I am happy to share with the board that we did successfully close on the pilots for the Sunny projects located in Scipio and Ledger. Big thanks to Justin to helping to advance that to close over the last month here. Related to this project, we are engaged with Low-Key Grill for labor monitoring on those two projects there. Formal engagement has been sent to the developer that this team is going to be monitoring their project. I'll be on the phone with them tomorrow to further dive into the mechanics of what we're looking from that. Again, this should be at no cost to the IDA. This is really going to be coming at the cost of the company itself for that there. Moving on, we are working towards the sale of our 3 large remaining parcels in the park to Cayuga Milk. As a reminder as well, part of this process is going to be a transfer of roughly an acre over to Denkovic. That's going to be tied into their updated pilot, and we'll be closing on that pilot once all these things come together. It's my expectation, Justin's here to hopefully confirm that we'll probably get this done, if not the end of this month, within the first couple of weeks of October.
I'm concerned, why in the world is it taking this long to get this done?
The sale of land,
Yes,
we had to do our 90-day notification period.
that's gone past.
Yes, so just
The
over the
last
last,
I discussed that with you, we
Yes.
were gonna have that check in September,
yes,
and we don't have no check in September.
well, it is September. If we're able to
Okay,
complete this before month end, I'll be happier for it, but because we do also have Denkovic tucked into our planning around this, that we're trying to make sure it all advances as appropriately as possible.
as slow as I am, I can multiply 1,000,000 times 4.5% and
Right.
figure out how much money we're losing by just not having that check.
Mhm.
And there's no reason to drag this on. But then if it's done in September, that's only 2 more weeks or a little less than that.
I hope so. Again, Justin can better speak to the mechanics to get everything wrapped up so we can advance this here. Justin?
Justin, is there any reason why we're not gonna have that check in September?
We're trying to close it as fast as possible, Herb. As a necessity, we're trying to close Denkovic at the same time. Cayuga Milk's ready, we're ready. We're trying to push Denkovic so we can have all these real estate transactions happen at the same time.
What about the property to Wayne?
Hmm?
The property we're gonna sell to the Wayne?
We're still advancing that discussion here, and we're more than likely going to be undertaking an option agreement with them, and it's my belief that we could probably have something ready for the board's consideration by next month.
Just for Andy, for details on that, the deal will involve the IDA being responsible to subdivide that land off for the Waynes. So we would go through that process at our expense. I think the Waynes offered to pay up to 2,000, Mike, is that still the case?
Yes, yes.
So however long it takes to subdivide that land off of the mall parcel, we would be able to execute with the Waynes. There's some thought there as to whether we come up with 3 parcels resulting or just 2. We're trying to drill down on that, I think. Without going into
Well,
too.
but you don't have to do a subdivision unless it's more than 5 lots.
Not sure. I mean, part of what's going into the overall structure here, putting aside the 20 acres of interest that Mr. Wayne has, we're considering other interested parties' wants and needs of the remaining 40 acres, and depending on who's actually serious, how do we want to break that up?
I thought the approval was based on Mr. Wayne paying all the costs. Why would we be paying?
No, that's not true.
No,
We
it was up
negotiated
to a certain amount
a
of
certain
cost,
amount.
so he will cover up to $2,000 of legal and other soft costs involved with the sale of the property.
What's it gonna cost to subdivide? You know?
That particular portion, I couldn't tell you right off. Yeah.
Justin, do you know?
You need to engage a surveyor. He'll survey the lot. Or if there's multiple lots, survey them all. Develop surveys.
Are we paying for the surveying also?
Yeah, usually the seller pays that.
So in terms of timing, there'll be a 90-day notice. There'll be a surveyor engaged, a surveyor delivering work product. If we need to get the town planning board to say yes, we'll get the town planning board to say yes. And then sell the acreage to them.
And then
Those
there's other,
elements would probably be through the end of the year, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Don
What are-
Watkins,
Next year.
Don Watkins did the survey when we bought the property. And once an order is made, he's usually about 4 to 6 weeks out. Tends to be
Yeah.
more than 6 weeks out to
Yeah.
get in his queue.
so
He does good work though.
When all is said and done, what is it gonna cost us to sell the property? A rough idea, does anyone have?
We won't know till we're done.
No. I really couldn't say offhand around all of that. What I can say is what we're getting for the property is well in excess of what it's worth and what the IDA actually paid for it. So in all scenarios, you're money ahead.
Okay.
It's real estate costs, huh?
There are questions on this topic? Okay. As you saw here, we have received this application for this renewable project up in Sterling. I'll be working with Justin to find the terms and analysis of that deal. Probably due to its relatively simple scale, we could advance that over the next month, assuming we have everything we need from them, and it looks as if.
What's the income on that?
So that project is a little bit under 5 million.
So our slice would be
50. That would be our take on that. So much smaller scale than the prior ones we've done, but also not even close to some of the ones we have looking the next year. Sewer update here. I'm happy to report that all final grant documents have been submitted to Empire State Development and the EDA. What I've heard back from Empire State Development is they're going to take roughly 2.5 months to process. We should still get those monies prior to year end. I haven't heard directly from EDA on that, but everything has been submitted, which is a big thing off of our checklist there. Tracy? You gotta go. She got another engagement.
Oh, that was something I said.
no made her mad.
No,
She was
no,
ahead, yeah.
no. A stakeholder engagement, as I tell you every month, I remain committed to meeting with our local ED partners on a bi-weekly basis. The big item I'd like the board to be aware of here is at the economic roundtable from July that Chairman Anna had put together. He had said, here's a pot of money that I'm looking to allocate for 2026. I would like that group that's meeting bi-weekly to put together a list of deliverables of how those monies could be best spent. What we've put together in working on all of this is the following: is the first being a county-wide economic development strategy. This was last done in 2011. The proposed strategy itself will aid in setting a shared vision and priorities, as well as helping to establish the path forward for a one-stop shop. That strategy itself will build off of the Camoin report that was commissioned by CCIDA, but that itself was really focused on organizational strategy, not countywide economic development strategy. So we think that's certainly a very large deliverable. 2 is ongoing support for the SBDC, which has and continues to provide critical support to our small businesses and entrepreneurs. 3 is marketing and outreach, and that could include website resources and updates, a customer relationship management system, branding, other marketing materials, etc. And 4 will be professional services, legal and underwriting, and related to support collective efforts of those involved there. The intent of these 4 high level deliverables is this thinking is that 2026 is to be leveraged for 2027 jump point there. So knowing that everyone is still trying to assess what are we doing, and more importantly, what can the county actually bring to the table here, but let's focus on these high level things that can have great impact for everyone involved. And lastly, on this item is that the deliverables would provide the continuity of services that the IDA, SBDC, and others are doing, demonstrate commitment to the community in the region of our steps toward reorganization, which is what I think everyone here can say we're going through in the best terms possible, is reorganization, and to complement other efforts that we do have going on, such as the county-wide strategic plan. All those things can build off of one another there. So that item there is a big portion. Happy to answer any questions there. Part of, again, the intent of sharing that with you is them bringing us to Chairman Anna for consideration as he's looking to build out his budget for the 2026 year itself there. None of those items are meant to be, designated to one agency or another. It's just, this is what this group thinks is the best use of funds going into next year. Okay. Couple of other brief updates. I know we're already nearing 5 o'clock here. So I'm gonna skip down to operations on my list here. We're gonna be meeting with Bonadio Group. That's the audit firm we've engaged with over the next couple of weeks to start our engagement efforts for the 2025 audit. I have begun budgeting for 2026. The budget committee is going to be meeting ahead of next month's regular meeting. That being said, I'll be looking to get a draft budget out as early as possible. So the committee can begin reviewing that well in advance of that meeting there. Lastly, on the operations portion is that all pilot invoicing has been sent out as of today for our September school billing. So we're on task, and on top of that there, quick reminder, we do have a dedicated pilot account for monies to be passed through. So we're good on all those items there. Yes.
I thought we were meeting on the budget tonight,
No.
but you assured me that I can't tell my 1 month from another. But if we're gonna meet 30 minutes before the meeting and we're gonna have to pass the budget at that meeting, I'm not sure I'm speaking for John and Ray, but I'm not gonna do that budget 30 minutes before the meeting and then have it approved then. We need to have some idea what the budget is well ahead of that 30 minutes.
Well, that's why I'm telling you that I plan on getting it to you as soon as possible. If you would like to schedule an earlier time or day or expand the meeting itself.
My
we can do
opinion
that.
would be, let's see what you produce for us, and then I think we together can decide whether we need to look at it before. Is that fair, John?
Yeah, ahead of time, and then we'll decide if we need more time or not.
Yeah, if we have it ahead of time, then we can decide if we need more time to work on it.
Your committee's gonna meet days, weeks before we meet again. Is that what you're saying?
Same day.
The budget
When you
meeting
say
was
we-
30 minutes, it was
Go-
30 minutes
Or-
before the meeting we're supposed to pass it.
No,
It's
we're
the
gonna
same,
do next week, next month, same time you just did
Right.
this month for governance.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, half an hour is not really enough. You almost need an hour.
No,
Well,
but I'm saying if you guys wanna look at the budget he prepares, why don't you meet sooner than our board?
Gina, my idea, let's see what he puts together. And then after the three of us look at that, don't you think, John, then we'll have an idea what we need to do to get something that can be voted on at that meeting.
Yes.
And I said I should have that ready to the committee over the next year. That
will-
most that's been done, it's waiting on a couple of other items that are gonna be important to put in there.
Michael, I just have two questions about your updates. One is the marketing meeting with Locate FLX, so we all have a clear understanding what they do now.
Yes, so I had a very good conversation with Senator Nzolio. And his assistant, over the last month, we talked for about an hour and a half, and really went through some of the details of what I believe to be of the best interest to the IDA. So we're going to be having focused profiles of companies throughout the duration of our contract with them. The biggest one is really going to be around ag and dairy industry, with a particular focus towards Cayuga milk ingredients. As we know, that this year marks a significant step for them there. We also talked about Cayuga County workforce as well, and trying to spotlight, what CCC is doing, as well as BOCES. We also wanted to make sure that We were giving ourselves some credit. We give the IDA a spotlight in there as well, to say, this is the IDA, this are the things we've done and the projects we've supported. Very, very good conversation. And again, as this quick reminder, they put it forward, bring it to me, and I make sure you guys get a chance to look at it as well before anything that's published and sent out.
Great. Thank you.
Questions, Mike? Report of the governance committee.
Yes, we went through their documents. One big issue we see is the training, including myself, hasn't been done by all the board members. So we'd like to set a goal that everybody gets the training done by the end of the year. And Michael will send you out a link to the website.
Would you send one to me?
Yes, certainly.
He said it's only an hour and a half. So
It's easy.
it's easy. So if, you know, I think that's the big,
You don't have that with sound water? You don't have that training?
I'm on trains.
yeah.
We have to have it with water or
Yeah, we've done that, but it was a while ago.
Oh,
So,
every year,
so if
I thought
everybody
every
could
4
get it done
years.
by the end of the year, that'd be
Yes,
nice.
every year, isn't it?
You have to send your
Every year,
certificate to
isn't it?
Michael too. There's a
So the,
certificate.
for,
Yeah.
at least every 4 years, this board has set the standard that all members should have training done at minimum every 4 years,
Oh,
at minimum.
seems like we do it every year.
If you do it every year, that's good. That's a recommendation.
It seems like it anyway. Maybe it's longer.
We noticed
That's quite the one for doing that.
we noticed the address was wrong in the bylaws, but we thought we'd leave that till that gets rectified. We asked Tracy to send us the skills and experience level letter that I think the county.
County really said that, so.
And we were missing an update in the UTEP from last year.
The UTEP, so I can circulate the updated one that was approved last year.
But other than that, everything looked very good.
Okay, we vote on that next month, right? Do we vote on receiving that report tonight?
And you can make a motion to accept. I would say you make a motion to accept here, and then at your annual meeting, you.
Andy,
I'd make the motion.
there's a second?
One second.
Discussion to the committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
But please do the training.
Yeah. Local labor policy.
So this is more of a verbal update here, and what I would like to do is to bring to the board's attention for next month. Part of engaging with Lowkey Brill is they took a very hard look at what our current local labor policy says, and they work with IDAs throughout the entire state, and that this is probably the most stringent local labor policy they've come across. So they have some recommendations about how to, you know, massage it in a way that still keeps the board's interest of ensuring that, like all IDAs, as much local labor is used as possible. But what's unique about the Cayuga IDAs is we say 65% within Cayuga County, and most other IDAs say 60 to 70% within the surrounding counties here. So he said, and I'm not making a recommendation myself to you here at the moment, but I thought he brought up the salient point of are we losing business as it's currently drafted? What I can say, and we've noted this in a number of our applications just during the time I've been working with the IDA, is all of our applicants have either asked for or have critiqued the local labor policy. So I think there's an opportunity there to revisit and update that, and also expand what we talked about previously. Is we have our local labor mitigation payment, and we can expand that beyond renewable projects to all projects and define depending on its size and impact, how we could potentially scale that as well. The intent of those like local mitigation payments is to redeploy that money into the workforce to build up training in noted areas where there is a gap that companies are saying it doesn't exist here. That's why we need a waiver.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go into executive session to discuss,
If you don't mind, before we do that, I talked to Michael. I think we had very close to a complete disaster 2 weeks ago today.
that's what I was gonna cover that in executive
I'm
session.
sorry.
So moved.
But the reason being going into executive.
Lease of real property.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in. John? Cayuga County is the #1 dairy county in New York State.
No,
Okay,
Maybe Ray and I were too overly involved in this whole thing.
Well, we're not in executive.
You're
session.
back in
Let's
public
cease the
session.
discussion.
Yeah, let's stop.
but
Well, I moved the lease with the recommended changes that Justin and Rich would like to adopt. Let him get it updated to their satisfaction. And then signed by Mike and Ray.
after all the board has looked at it and approved it.
Right, get sent out to the board and then out for the board approval.
There's a second. Motion made and seconded. There's discussion.
Is there anything you guys want to add into it or?
Well, it wasn't really part of the whole thing, but I would just say that, I'm hoping that you're gonna have recommendation for the layout of how you see the office. That's gonna be functional for you being in it, that everyone could review too.
Sure.
Further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Oh.
You have to abstain.
No. We need to approve a tentative budget. Or preliminary budget, however you want to say it. For expenses to man and. Equipped and furnish. The premises. Mike, have you, and Andy, or anybody come up with?
I make a minimal recommendation of $10,000 between both lease payments, office equipment. You gotta get internet, and there's gonna be some additional expenses with that, so I would say.
Michael,
$10,000.
lease payments,
I would move
lease is
to
20,000.
approve Mike's.
You said 10,000,
Right.
lease is 20,000.
Which
Well, for an amendment to the budget for this
okay,
year, so
okay,
it's
sorry.
$1,600 a month, and we have to do security deposit.
I would move that we approve Michael's
Second.
dollar amount that we set aside right now to do that.
Is there an amount?
$10,000, he said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
You know,
it.
he listed what things
Okay,
he thought
fine.
was
I just
covered,
didn't-
the lease, the down payment plus the.
Yeah, I just didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
That's okay, but I thought he had thought through it pretty well.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I oppose.
I can't.
Carried. Is there any further business come before us?
I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Everyone, thanks, Justin, thanks for everything.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
night. Good night.
Have a great one. See ya.
Thank you.